Pierce City family raises awareness for a rare genetic disorder. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
Plus, quilters get crafty in Carthage, and House Democrats call for Trump's impeachment.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other House Democrats are laying plans for impeaching President Trump again. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Kate Kelly. This action comes after Trump's supporters violently stormed the U.S. Capitol Wednesday following his speech. CBS News correspondent Tom Hansen reports from New York.
A senior law enforcement official tells CBS News investigators are exploring why some individuals at the Capitol riot had weapons and zip ties that can function as plastic handcuffs. The Justice Department continues to pursue charges in connection with Wednesday's assault. That includes Adam Johnson of Florida, allegedly seen carrying House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's lectern during the rampage, and Jacob Anthony Chansley, believed to be this shirtless man wearing horns, a bearskin headdress, and face paint, was also arrested. With less than 2 weeks before President Trump leaves the White House, congressional Democrats are preparing to bring articles of impeachment against him as early as Monday.
It was an act of sedition that was incited and encouraged by Donald Trump.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke to Leslie Stahl for this Sunday's 60 Minutes.
Well, sadly, the person who's running the executive branch is a deranged, unhinged, dangerous President of the United States.
The draft article of impeachment, incitement of insurrection, alleges President Trump's conduct on Wednesday gravely endangered the security of the United States. He would be the first president to be impeached twice.
Hello, Patriots!
On Saturday, some heavily armed President Trump supporters gathered in Minneapolis for a Stop the Steal protest.
We want Donald Trump to resign!
While anti-Trump demonstrators rallied in front of Chicago's Trump Tower, in New York's Times Square, and in a handful of other cities. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Vice President Pence will attend President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration January 20th. President Trump has already said that he won't be there. He'll be the first president in more than 150 years to skip the ceremony. Nick Kelly joins us now with our first look at weather, and it's getting colder out there.
It certainly is, Kate. After we had some sunshine to help warm us up after a cold start this morning, we started cold at 21 degrees this morning and topping out around 35, 36 degrees this afternoon. Either way, still colder than our average high of 44. Even though we have passing cloud cover throughout the day, excuse me, and heading into this evening, we are staying quiet underneath the clouds while snow continues across Colorado and is picking up across parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and certainly across New Mexico. In the meantime, it is cold for sure. Most of us in the middle of the upper 20s. I think that's where we're going to stay throughout the course of the night as we continue to see more cloud cover working from the west and that breeze staying light out of the north at 5 miles per hour. Fast forward through the day tomorrow, we'll see some more sunshine return, so we'll call it partly sunny by the afternoon with highs back in the middle to upper 30s and a warming trend on the way, Kate. We'll break those numbers down for you here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Nick. A Pierce City, Missouri family is working to raise awareness for a rare genetic disorder. It's been diagnosed in less than 70 people around the world, and their 3-year-old son is one of them. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
What would you do if your baby had a seizure and no one knew why?
He almost kind of unlearned everything. Like he stopped eating, he couldn't use a utensil, he couldn't set up on his own.
A terrifying thing for brand new parents Elizabeth Hilton and Justin Camtrell.
Doctors were telling us that that wasn't something that can happen. Seizures don't cause that.
So they took their 6-month-old baby Patrick to Children's Mercy in Kansas City, hoping for some answers.
But we'll try the ER. We'll see what happens, see what they do, just to go in immediately.
It wasn't until close to a year later that they learned Patrick was diagnosed with DeSanto-Shinawi syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that causes developmental delay, intellectual disability, behavioral problems, feeding difficulty, and seizures.
It's a bit of a relief when we got the diagnosis, but it's definitely been its challenges for sure. The learning curves, those are pretty tough. Trying to see, you do things repetitively and don't get any results, and it's a little hard to take from time to time, but whenever those results show up, then there's nothing else can replace it.
With less than 70 diagnosed cases in the world, it makes it hard to find treatment even for the symptoms, something they're working to change. They organized Dash for Dash, a run and walk aimed at raising funds for research on treatments and diagnosis, with the personal goal of raising awareness so other parents don't have to go through what they did.
When you go to these doctor visits and they don't know anything, they're like, well, here's this Facebook group. That's all you get with a rare disease. And so we want to do something to help change that.
In Pierce City, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
This was the very first Dash for Dash event held in Pierce City. If you want to learn more about the DeSanto-Schwanni Syndrome Foundation, we have a link in this article on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Today, some quilters got together in Carthage to craft something to keep themselves warm and lift some spirits. The Quilters Corner Station in Carthage offered a hooked rug and sunflower stand class that several locals decided to take advantage of. The teacher says everyone gets creative freedom to make the craft their own.
Then once you learn the basic craft, then everything becomes your own, because I may not choose a color that someone else would, and then you just see people bloom and grow. And I mean, some of my students that have been in here, it's fun. They're like, can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, yes, do it.
The class costs $40. We take this time now to honor another four-state hero. William Robert Vamps served in the Navy, spending time stationed in Vietnam. His hometown, Webb City, Missouri. We thank you, William Vamps, our four-state hero. That's news and weather in our first 7 minutes. Just ahead, as COVID cases continue to surge across the U.S., efforts are renewed to pump out a faster round of vaccines. And details on a missing passenger plane where dozens are feared dead. In the U.S., the slow vaccine rollout continues as American infections surpass 22 million. Deaths have topped 371,000. Danya Backus has the latest.
The worst of the COVID crisis has America in its grips, setting alarming new records. More than 20,000 deaths this week. That's someone dying every 29 seconds. Health officials warn darker days could come. Arizona now one of the worst hotspots in the world. The state's governor still refusing a mask mandate, but ramping up vaccination efforts, designating the Arizona Cardinals NFL Stadium a 24/7 vaccination site. Nationwide, the vaccine rollout can't come fast enough for weary frontline workers. Marnie Pomeroy is a pediatric audiologist in Kentucky.
The anxiety has been overwhelming, worrying about contracting coronavirus from the community or one of my patients.
So far, just over 6.5 million Americans have been vaccinated, significantly short of what was supposed to be 20 million by the end of 2020. President-elect Joe Biden says he'll pick up the pace.
I'm committed to get 100 million shots in people's arms in the first 100 days.
Scheduling glitches are proving costly. In Irvine, California, a nearly 2-mile backup had healthcare workers waiting hours for their shot. And in Los Angeles County, the situation is dire.
The hospital system is bent about as far as it can bend. The next sound may be a snap.
With no space at the morgue, the National Guard is helping to move the bodies of the dead to refrigerated trucks.
California saw its deadliest day Friday. Here in LA County, a person dies from COVID-19 every 5 minutes. To help distribute vaccines faster, vaccination pods like the one behind me have been set up across the county for healthcare workers. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The London ambulance service has been taking up to 8,000 emergency calls a day, with hospitals in the UK capital pushed to the breaking point by the rapid spread of the coronavirus. COVID hospitalizations are up 27% there. Police officers in London have been drafted in to drive ambulances to help ease some of the pressure on the health service. To Indonesia now, where a Boeing 737 passenger jet disappeared from radar today, minutes after taking off from Jakarta in Indonesia. Dozens are feared dead. CBS's Roxana Saberi reports.
Indonesian authorities are examining these cables and a fragment of someone's jeans found by fishermen today to see if they're debris from the missing plane. In search of more signs and survivors, crews comb the waters just northwest of Indonesia's capital. The plane was reportedly carrying 56 passengers and 6 crew members, all Indonesian nationals, when it left Jakarta on Saturday. The flight tracking service Flight Radar 24 says about 4 minutes after taking off in heavy rain, the plane plummeted more than 10,000 feet in less than 60 seconds, then disappeared. The Indonesian Sriwijaya air flight was due to arrive on a nearby island around 90 minutes later. This man says his wife and 3 daughters were on it. I was supposed to pick them up, he said. I won't be able to meet them again. The Boeing 737-500 was 26 years old. It did not have the automated flight control system that played a role in 2 recent crashes involving the Boeing 737 MAX. The first of those was in 2018 when 189 people died after their Lion Air flight plunged into the same sea where today's flight vanished.
Roxana Saberi, CBS News, London.
Pakistan's national power grid experienced a major breakdown today, leaving millions of people in darkness. Officials attributed the blackout to a sudden plunge in the frequency of the power transmission system. This is one of the worst blackouts the country has ever experienced. Coming up, Nick Kelly returns with a full look at your forecast, and a little later, we'll check out a record-breaking snowy situation in Spain.
No doubt about it, it was cold for today, but for some of you, especially on the time-lapse lens on Indigo Sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri, we had a couple of areas of mist to start the morning out. Then we saw partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies grace our skies as we continued throughout our Saturday. We took advantage of the sunshine because it was definitely cold to start the morning out. After we topped out in the middle to upper 30s on Friday, we dropped back into the lower 20s this morning and only made it back to about 35, 36 degrees. Even though it's going to be cool for the next few days, we're actually going to be pushing back above normal, but you can see how the numbers look as we go toward the middle of the coming week. In the meantime, though, it is cold, no doubt about it. 25 in Joplin now with that calm breeze and the humidity at 85%. Elsewhere around the Joplin metro, everyone's pretty much right around 25 around the city, but you hop to 26 in Baxter, 28 in Commerce, and around the rest of the area, most of us are sitting in the mid to upper 20s. I really think this is where we're going to hold steady for the rest of the night. Most of us in the middle to upper 20s, and I say that not just because we still have that light north breeze in place at about 5 and occasionally pushing near 10 miles per hour. That's staying in place for tonight, but also more cloud cover ready to work back in from the west. That's going to put a limit as to how cold we get for the rest of the night. And again, I think we're pretty much at our overnight lows as we venture on throughout the night. Even though we're seeing clouds with another storm system out to the west, we aren't going to see any snow from that, and they're gearing up for quite a snowstorm with the surface low across southwestern New Mexico, getting ready to work across Texas, and the same goes for the upper low coming out of New Mexico. Both of those systems are set to give parts of Texas at least 6 inches of snow, something you rarely see across the state of Texas, especially considering where we're going to track this system on the future track here. Look at how deep the snow wants to go as we head toward Texas, almost to the Houston area. Rarely do we see snow chances in general make it that far south across the Lone Star State, but that's where the bulk of the moisture is going to keep the snow chances as we head towards Sunday. Could there be maybe a random flurry? Sure, if we have enough moisture in place for tomorrow, but we're going to stay mainly mostly cloudy for your Sunday to start things out at least. Then as the system moves on for Monday, we'll see more sunshine return, highs back in the 40s. But look at the jet retreat to the northeast as we head through the middle of the week. That'll send us into the 50s before we see our next storm system try to clip us by Friday morning with a few rain or snow showers. Overall, though, you see how that system wants to push that jet back to our southwest. That will send us back into the cooler as we get next weekend underway. So overall, a quiet stretch for the week ahead of us, including tonight and heading into your Sunday. Mostly cloudy skies will stay in place. Temperatures holding steady where they are right now, right around 25 degrees with a light north breeze at 5 miles per hour. By lunchtime tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and then more partly sunny skies by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That should send highs back to about 37 degrees. Let's go 41, partly sunny on your Monday, 52 and mostly sunny Tuesday, then pushing 56 Wednesday and 57 on Thursday. Keep in mind, highs should normally be in the mid-40s at this point of January, so we better enjoy it, Kate, before we see temperatures cool down once again by next weekend.
Oh, yeah, definitely a cold night, but I'm looking forward to warmer days ahead.
Yeah, those numbers, they definitely look really nice.
All right. Thanks, Nick. 4 people died in Spain as Storm Filomena caused travel chaos across the country, blanketing Madrid in the heaviest snowfall in decades and forcing authorities to mobilize troops to rescue trapped motorists. Rescue services reached 1,500 people trapped in cars. A man and woman who were traveling in a car drowned after a river burst its banks in southern Spain, and 2 homeless people froze to death. The capital has long been a symbol of freedom and democracy across the globe, but the attack has created shockwaves around the world, with American allies and adversaries responding. Holly Williams has more on that from London.
What happened today in Washington, D.C. is not America.
America's allies were horrified.
The rampage at the Capitol yesterday was a disgraceful act, and it must be vigorously condemned.
The leaders of sister democracies are deeply unsettled.
This is a very distressing time in the United States, and I feel terribly for what's happening there. I really do.
And some world leaders pointed the finger directly at President Trump.
I unreservedly condemn encouraging people to behave in the disgraceful way that they did in the Capitol.
But it wasn't just America's friends who watched the assault on the Capitol, it was America's rivals and enemies. And they immediately began using it to justify their own authoritarian-style rule. This is the state of their democracy and the mess of the election, said Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. China's state-controlled media said a ceremonial procedure in the Senate was turned into a farce. One editorial said it represented the internal collapse of the US political system. And a Russian government spokeswoman said that the, quote, split in American society was the result of an electoral system that's archaic and does not meet modern democratic standards. A cradle of democracy, the United States has long been a symbol of freedom. When American democracy is rocked, it sends shockwaves around the world. It looks quite ridiculous, said this Russian woman, and this man said it reminded him of the Wild West.
Holly Williams, CBS News.
Coming up in sports, Webb City and Joplin square off for the Kaminsky Classic Tournament title. Plus, Pitt State sweeps a doubleheader from rival Missouri Southern. Sports director Jacob Leonard has highlights next.
This weekend is rivalry weekend for Pittsburg State and Missouri Southern. The two teams meet this afternoon in Pittsburgh for their first of 2 scheduled meetings. On the women's side, Lions and Gorillas, both pretty hot right now. They each enter on a 4-game winning streak. A good start from Moso. Carly Turnbull knocks down the 3. 18 points for Turnbull in this one. Then the freshman, Caitlin Honeycutt, pulls up, knocks it down. She had 15. Other end, second quarter, Kaylee DeMitz looking for a shot. Money there, but Southern opens up a 10-point halftime lead. Now here comes Pitt State in the third. Check it out, just a great look from Sydney Crane to DeMitz. DeMitz drops a game-high 25. Now late in the third, Jamie Jackson, huge pair of threes for the Gorillas. They climb back within 2 going to the fourth. And you knew Tristan Gegg would show up in these highlights, right? At some point, 3 from Gegg there gives the Gorillas their first lead a minute into the fourth. And Maya Williams, same thing from the corner moments later. Gorillas erase a double-digit deficit to get by Southern 70-67. It's the 5th consecutive win for the Gorillas.
I thought just some people made some big plays. I mean, just little things you'd say is little plays, but Julia rotated and get a steal, and our defensive presence was a little bit better in the second half. A lot of respect for Southern in the game that they played, and they had some freshmen step up too. I mean, Honeycutt played a great game, and so did a new player in our league, Turnbull, had an awesome game, and so we really had to play our butts off to get this win.
To the men's game now, Gorillas try to get above 500 today against the rival Lions. First half, Cam Martin pulling up for 3. Game high 33 points for Martin. Then Stan Scott there for the two-handed jam. But it's Pittsburg State closing the half strong. Bobby Arthur Williams pulling up, corner 3. He finishes with 22. Gorillas up 8 at the break. Now early third, that's when Martin Votes got going. To the rim and the foul. Then steps out, nails the 3. Pitt State up 15 with 15 minutes to go. I'm telling you, man, Votes just had a great second half. Another 3 here. He had a team-high 26. 20 of those came in the second half. Gorilla men make it a sweep, winning 83-67. This championship day at the Kaminsky Classic at Joplin High School. Tournament host Joplin Eagles are in the title game after going 2-0 in pool play this week. Joplin meets Webb City in the championship game. The Cards 7-1 and ranked 8th in the state in Class 5. Webb City opens scoring up. Put back here from Lucas Brummett. Cards up 4. To the second now. Dish goes out to All Right. He drains the 3. At a game-high 17. Into the quarter. Webb City rebounds, but Malik Williams steals it and drops it in at the buzzer. 15-0 run for Joplin to end the half. They're up 8 at the break. The third quarter, Webb City gets going. Brummett in the paint and 1. Cards within 7. And Alex Martin with the floater and the foul. Big comeback here for Webb City. Scored 23 in the third, 43 in the second half. They win the championship game 66-55.
Offensively, we're really good. So I think there's going to be times where those shots are going to fall. Again, it's just playing through mistakes and those misses, because a lot of those shots were rimming out in the first half. It was just a matter of time before they started falling. And again, our defense led to some easy transition points, and that helped us get a little bit of a lead and stretch it on them.
In the Big 12 today, both KU and K-State at home facing Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. KU gets by the Sooners 63-59. David McCormick goes for a team-high 17. In Manhattan, though, Wildcats not able to keep up with the Cowboys 70-54, the final in that one. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Nick joins us now with one last look at weather.
All right, we are staying cold for tonight and for your Sunday, but we'll stay dry at the same time. 37 tomorrow, 41 Monday, 50s through the middle of the week, and then back into the cooler just in time for the weekend, Kate.
All right. Thanks, Nick, and thanks for watching. Good night.